Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Parker and I am a makeup artist, a mom of one with a second baby on the way. And today we're gonna be doing just an everyday makeup look. This is gonna be no frills, no fuss, just a easy, simple look with some high-end products, some drugstore products. It's just gonna make you feel put together to go drop your kids off at school, to go to work, to run errands, whatever you need to do. And this is a great look to do in under 10 minutes. So let's just get started. Of course, I will link all the products below, but starting off, I always do brows first, and I am obsessed with this L'Oreal brow lamination. I like to do my brows before anything else, just to make sure I don't pick up any of the foundation or concealer or whatever into my brow product. And it's always easier if you have lighter brow hairs to dye them beforehand. I use like the men's beard dye to dye my brows, and it lasts for about 2 to 3 weeks, which is great. Okay, once the brow product is on, just take your finger and make sure there is no leftover product above or below your brow, because again, that'll get stuck in the foundation. For my face makeup, you can see that I have a little bit of redness, a little bit of discoloration on my cheeks. So I like to use, first off, the L'Oreal Glotion mixed with a tiny, tiny pump of foundation. However, if you don't really have any redness on your face that you need covering up, I would just go in with this L'Oreal Glotion. It just has a pretty like sheen, makes your skin look hydrated. But like literally that is all I'm using. That tiny pump of foundation and that Glotion. And I will just take this on my hands. Your hands are such amazing tools. And just think of this as if you're, rubbing in your moisturizer for the day. Your hands will naturally heat up the product, help sink into your skin. And I will really focus this on my cheeks and then take whatever is left and throw it up onto my forehead. But most of our foreheads don't really have a ton of discoloration, so I don't find you need a ton of product there. Once I worked the majority of that in with my hands, I'll go over with a brush. This is a House Labs foundation brush, and just pat it in to make sure there's no streaks or anything. You can still see some discoloration, but that's okay, because again, we're doing an everyday makeup look. It doesn't have to be full coverage, but to each their own. For concealer, I'm going to use the Natasha Denona High Glam. This is in the shade N2. It goes a long way. So start off with a smaller amount. And anywhere that I have any imperfections, any zits, I will just put a little bit on the zit and let it sit. The longer you let your concealer sit, the more coverage you'll get. And I also will take just a little bit underneath where I'm going to put that contour. I still think sponges are just such an easy way to blend out your makeup. And you'll notice I didn't put any concealer on this part of my eye where my crow's feet are, because I didn't want to focus a ton of product out there, but I do drag whatever product is left over out to the outer corner so that it helps give that lifted eye look without, again, having too much product out there to make me look creasy. So blend, blend, blend. And a lot of times I'll just take whatever's left over on the sponge, put that over my cheeks to help cancel out any of the redness on my cheeks as well. Now this step you can totally skip, but if you feel like you have under eye bags or you just didn't get a lot of sleep, up with the baby, whatever it is, I love this Kosas Magic Concealer. I'm just gonna put a tiny dot under my eyes where I can see those lines and just blend it out. This is a beautiful like pink concealer that just helps really brighten under the eyes and make you look more awake. And as if you didn't get 4 hours of sleep the night before. I have two favorite bronzers for just an everyday, easy, no-brainer type bronzer. The first one is the Makeup by Mario Skin Enhancer. I have the shade Light Medium, and this is the one we're going to use today. But I also love the Say bronzer. I have the shade Salt. This is also a very good bronzer. You just want something that's easy to blend out. And I'm going to take it on this House Labs brush, this dual-ended brush, go straight into the pan, and then start blending upwards on my cheek. I don't really start back here. I start in the middle of my cheek and blending upwards. Always hit the top of the ear. That's where the sun would naturally hit. And then I'll go a little on the top of my cheeks as well. A little bit over my nose. And then I always hit the temples. I think forehead bronzer is the best thing you can do for your face. It's gonna make it look like you have so much sun, even when you don't. Blending that into my temples and really blending it into my hairline as well so that you can see no lines. And then whatever's left over on the brush, I'm gonna take it over my eye. And this is pretty much the only shadow I'm gonna do. And I'm using such light pressure. Like I am not pressing this into my face because that would move any of the foundation. And then whatever's left, I'll just take it down the jawline. And you can always go back in with your sponge and help blend any harsh lines. For blush, I'm going to use my favorite blush ever. This is House Labs Glassy Hibiscus. This is a beautiful, cool-toned mauve-y blush. And I'm going to take it right on this other side of the brush. I always like to take it to the brush first, just so I have a little more control on how much product I'm placing. And I will tap this just all over the tops of my cheeks. These House Lab blushes are so gorgeous. They really do give a glassy finish just to make your skin look so youthful, so hydrated, and even with the powder that I'm gonna put on top, I feel like it still shines through. So taking that all across my cheeks, a little across my nose, and then I also will take it up onto the forehead, just to make it look all seamless. Like I want it to look as if the sun naturally kissed me, not as if, oh my gosh, she has a ton of blush on, even though I do. And then I will go back in with my sponge and just tap under my eyes to make sure if I brought any of that blush too high, it just blends in with the concealer really seamlessly. And I am not even wetting the sponge. You can if you have the time. Definitely works much better, but we're talking a 5 to 10 minute face today. This RCMA No Color Powder, this is like a professional powder, but it's this entire thing is $14 that you can get off Amazon, and it has absolutely no pigment to it. It has the best finish, and I have been using this powder for years and years, and it's just one of my favorites ever. I'm gonna take it up on a fluffy brush, just tap off any of that excess, and I'm gonna put this anywhere where I get oily. I have pretty dry skin, so I use it kind of sparingly, but you can definitely bake with it if you need to. So I'll put that under my eyes and really just focusing it in my T-zone. I'll put it on top of my eyes, and the best part about this is because it has no pigment to it, it's not gonna take away any of that like blush or bronzer. So you can still see that glassy finish of the blush underneath, but my T-zone looks nice and matte. Now I'm gonna do my brows. So I'm using the NYX Micro Brow Pencil in Ash Brown, and I'm just adding a couple of hairs, just flicking upwards wherever I need it. When I dye my eyebrows, sometimes I don't even need to do this step, and I will just use a brow gel. So if you're looking to cut something out, just be consistent with dyeing your eyebrows. But one of my favorite parts about this L'Oreal brow gel as well is even though it has been sitting on my face for a while, I can still go in with a spoolie and brush through those brow hairs just to make sure any of the pencil marks that I just put down are nice and blended in the brow, but they're still holding their shape with the product. I find some brow products, like you literally cannot brush through them. You can't do anything after it dries down, but this one still is malleable. I also love to use my brow pencil for a little bit of lip liner. This is just gonna help contour the lip. So I'll do a little underneath, blend it out a little above, and blend it out. Again, just gives a little bit of lip contour. You could also add a couple freckles, which I will do a lot of times in the summer because I feel like it helps to look like you don't have much makeup on. And then you could also use it as like a tiny bit of liner, because I don't do shadow on like a day-to-day basis. I don't really even wear mascara the majority of the time. I'll just curl my lashes. But adding just a tiny bit of depth to the lash line and not having to use a new product does help save time. Now I'm gonna curl my lashes. Highly recommend the Tweezerman lashes. These are the best curlers I've ever found. And so sometimes I will just curl my lashes and put on a lip, and that is like good. Like I don't feel like I need mascara every day, but we'll add some today. My favorite mascara ever is the Maybelline Lash Sensational, and honestly this bottle is on its last leg. So just adding a couple swipes of mascara, and for every day I do not wear a bottom mascara because I do find that bottom mascara tends to transfer on most people, especially if you're wearing it for like 10 to 12 hours and you don't want to do waterproof on like a regular day. Obviously personal preference. Okay, last but not least is lips. For my everyday look, I love Charlotte Tilbury Love Trap. And I always like to do a tiny bit of over-aligning. I'm like, if I'm gonna do my makeup, my lips are gonna look good. This is such a complementary color to the House Labs blush we used. So really focusing it top and bottom, then add a little to the corners. And then you really just wanna take your finger and blend out the edges so that they're nice and blurry and there's no like crazy harsh lines. Whatever lip treatment I have on deck or lip gloss, I will just add. Today is the Summer Fridays one. Just a clear gloss. Good skin, pretty lips. That's what I'm looking for. Now, total optional last step, but you could use some setting sprays. So I love the Milani Make It Last. This is gonna add a little hydration back to my face, making sure it looks like very skin-like. I'll let that dry. And then just to lock it in place, I'm gonna use the L'Oreal Infallible. This is very similar to the One Size. Woo! And tastes like. And once all that is locked in place, I'm actually gonna go back in with a touch more powder just right in my T-zone to make sure my pores look nice and locked in. And I hate when the side of my nose gets really oily. So just tapping right in the T-zone. Okay, there we go. That is my everyday makeup routine. I can do this in under 10 minutes, which is great when I need to be running out the door. I can do this while I'm driving. Don't recommend. But this is just like such a pretty skin-focused everyday makeup look that's gonna make you feel put together and just get you ready for your day. A little close-up. Nice and glowy cheeks, which is what I love. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like or subscribe if you enjoyed it. Bye guys.